In the small town of Ashburn, West Virginia, folks still talk about the night train that vanished. Not derailed, vanished. No wreckage, no bodies, no clues. It was in 1956, when the old Midland line still ran coal through the mountains. The 2:45 a.m. freight, known locally as the Black Hollow Express, left the yard one foggy night and never arrived at its next stop. Railroad inspectors followed the tracks for miles, but somewhere between mile marker 39 and 40, the train just ceased to exist. The tracks were intact, no sign of breaking or damage. Since then, locals say you can still hear the horn echoing through the valley long after midnight, though no trains have run that route in decades. That's the story Evan Grady, a young photographer from Charleston, came to investigate. Evan wasn't a believer in ghost stories. He specialized in abandoned Americana, crumbling diners, old stations, forgotten roads. When he found out about the missing train, it was perfect for his next photo series. He drove into Ashburn on a chilly November evening, where the only light came from a flickering gas station sign. The clerk, an old man in suspenders, looked up when Evan asked for directions to the old Midland tracks. "You don't want to go there after dark," he said. "Nothing but ghosts and fog," Evan chuckled. "That's what I'm hoping for." He followed the dirt road until the asphalt disappeared. Soon the rails appeared ahead, half buried under weeds, stretching into a dense wall of trees. His phone lost signal, and the air grew unnaturally still. He parked by an abandoned signal house, camera slung around his neck. The forest around him was silent, not even crickets. When he tested the flash, it lit up rusted tracks, vanishing into fog. He took a few shots, then noticed something odd. A fresh groove in the metal rails, as if something heavy had passed recently. At 2:40 a.m., his recorder picked up a distant sound, a deep, hollow whistle. It came from far down the tracks, echoing through the hills. Evan froze. There hadn't been a train here in 50 years. Then the ground trembled, faint at first, then stronger. The air filled with the low rumble of an engine. Through the fog, twin beams of light appeared, swaying like eyes. A train, an actual train, heading straight toward him. He stumbled backward, snapping photos wildly. The locomotive roared past, black iron gleaming, steam hissing. But something was wrong. There was no sound from the wheels on the track, and inside the windows, instead of passengers, were rows of empty seats. The train's headlamp flickered as it passed, illuminating the number 2477 painted on the side, the same number listed on the manifest from 1956. Evan shouted, but his voice was swallowed by the noise. Then, just as suddenly, the train vanished. No slowing down, no turn. It simply dissolved into the fog. The air went still. His camera beeped, lens fogged over. The timestamp read 2:45 a.m. He laughed nervously, thinking it was some kind of elaborate prank, until he checked the photos. Every image showed the same thing: empty tracks, no lights, no train, no motion blur. Except one. The final photo captured a faint silhouette in the distance. A man leaning from the engine window, eyes glowing faint orange. Evan tried to delete it, but the file wouldn't erase. When he played back the audio from his recorder, a distorted voice whispered, "Boarding complete." That was enough. He packed up and left, driving fast down the winding road. The fog followed him, clinging to the windshield. His car radio crackled, and for a few seconds, he swore he heard the sound of steel wheels grinding against the rails, matching his speed. Then a horn blared, so close it shook the mirror. He slammed on the brakes, The headlights illuminated nothing but fog and dirt. His camera case had fallen open on the passenger seat. The screen flickered, showing an image he didn't remember taking. Himself, standing beside the train tracks. And behind him, the faint outline of the Black Hollow Express. When he got home, he uploaded the photos to his computer. The final file was corrupted. It opened for a split second, showing what looked like the inside of an old passenger car. The seats were full, but the faces were pale, sunken, and staring straight at the lens. He shut off the monitor, heart pounding. Outside his window, faint and distant, came the sound of a train whistle. The next morning, Evan's car was found abandoned near the same signal house, engine still running. His camera was inside, the lens shattered, and his watch stopped at 2:45 a.m. Locals said they heard the whistle again that night, longer, louder, as if calling for someone. A few hikers later claimed to have seen a light moving through the trees, like a train gliding silently through the dark. And sometimes, when fog drifts across those forgotten tracks, a camera flash will flicker in the distance, followed by the low hum of an engine fading into nothing. No one goes near mile marker 40 anymore, because every time the vanishing train returns, it takes another soul for the ride. In the small town of Maple Hollow, Ohio, there's a story about a house on Birch Lane that no one wants to buy. Not because it's haunted in the usual sense, but because of the door knocker. It's a heavy brass one, shaped like a lion's head, fixed to a warped red door. Locals say every family that's lived there has left within a year. Some claimed it knocked by itself, slow, deliberate, and always 3 times. No wind, no visitors, just the sound of metal striking wood in the middle of the night. When Sarah and Tom Wheeler, a young couple from Columbus, bought the house in early spring, they'd heard the rumors, but laughed them off. "It's just small-town folklore," Tom said. "We'll be fine." The house was cheap. Too cheap.
The first week was peaceful enough. The neighborhood was quiet, the kind of place where everyone still waved at each other. The Wheelers spent their days fixing up the peeling paint and broken porch lights. On the 3rd night, it rained. The kind of soft, steady rain that muffled every sound. Sarah was reading in bed when she heard it. 3 slow knocks on the front door. Thud, thud, thud. Tom checked, but no one was there. The street was empty, the rain still falling. They went back to bed, joking about the famous Birch Lane ghost, but the next morning, muddy fingerprints marked the brass knocker. Small, childlike ones. They didn't have kids. Over the next few nights, the knocking became a routine. Always at different hours. Always 3 times. Sometimes it was faint, like it came from deep inside the wood. Other times it was sharp enough to rattle the mail slot. Tom finally decided to remove the knocker altogether. He unscrewed it, tossed it into a box in the garage, and patched the holes in the door. That night, the house stayed silent. Sarah slept deeply for the first time in days. But when she went downstairs the next morning, her stomach dropped. The knocker was back on the door, polished, gleaming, as if it had never been touched. Tom swore he hadn't reattached it. They started keeping the porch light on, and even installed a camera above the door. Every night they'd review the footage. Nothing. No visitors, no motion, not even a shadow. Yet the knocking continued. At 2:37 a.m. one night, Sarah couldn't take it anymore. She ran to the door and yanked it open mid-knock. The street was empty, but the sound didn't stop. It was still coming, echoing faintly from inside the house. The next morning, she found something strange. A brass stain on the living room wall, shaped exactly like a handprint. The edges were dark, as if burned into the paint. Tom wanted to leave, but Sarah insisted they'd lose too much money selling now. "It's just nerves," she said, though her voice trembled. A week later, Tom went on a business trip, leaving Sarah alone for 2 nights. The first night was quiet. The second, the knocking started again, louder this time, echoing through the entire house. Thud, thud, thud. She shouted, "Stop it," and the sound stopped instantly. The silence felt alive. She waited, heart pounding, then turned toward the staircase. At the top step, she froze. The brass knocker was mounted on the bedroom door, gleaming in the dark. She slammed the door shut, called Tom, and demanded he come home immediately. His phone crackled before the call dropped, leaving only a faint tapping sound through the speaker. When Tom returned the next morning, the house was silent. Sarah's car was still in the driveway. The front door was ajar. He stepped inside, calling her name. In the living room, the walls were covered in smudged brass handprints. The air smelled like rain and metal. He found her phone on the floor, screen cracked, showing a video still recording. He played it back. It showed Sarah standing by the door, whispering something. Then, suddenly, her eyes darted toward the camera, and a knock echoed right beside her. The video ended with her whispering, "It's inside now." Sarah Wheeler was never found. The police searched the house but found no signs of forced entry, no footprints, no struggle. Just the door knocker, now darker, tarnished as if touched by fire. The Wheelers' house was sold again 6 months later. The new owners replaced the front door completely, choosing a plain wooden one with no knocker. But neighbors say that on rainy nights, you can still hear it. 3 slow knocks coming from the front porch. And if you listen close enough, you can hear the faint sound of metal dragging across wood, like something trying to find its way back home.